Hi angels and welcome. I'm your host, Lisa Everding, founder of Earthy Angels, and I'm on a mission to empower women to live authentically and to take exquisite care of themselves. You can find us on earthyangels.com or head over to our show notes to follow us on socials. Today's episode turned out to be the third in a little mini series because at the time of recording, it's a Mercury retrograde. We're going through a solar new moon eclipse and there's a lot of change and transition in the air. And I wanted to share with you how to embrace new beginnings, how to embrace change, how to notice that energy shift in your body. And with this new energy, I could feel it in my soul. And after I taught a Pilates class, I got home that evening to a message from a client that said, I just wanted to send a message to say how much I enjoyed tonight's class, the music, the energy, everything. It was my favorite since being back. Our energy is infectious. Our energy ripples out to those around us. So it's important to be aware of it. So I will share with you a little insight on how to become more aware of your energy and embrace change, my friends. Good morning, girls. Happy Monday. It's a Monday for me this morning, and I have recorded 3 podcasts in a row over the last couple of days. And I made a decision when I made a decision to do my podcast, I thought I am going to always honor flow, always honor alignment, and speak when an episode comes to me or a thought comes to me or a creative idea comes to me, a download comes to me. I'm going to jump on and I'm going to share it because I never wanted to record from the energy of, oh no, I need to get a podcast out this week. I always wanted to let them flow naturally and let them flow through in a way of this is maybe what's needed to be spoken about. This is what's presenting in the community. This is what's happening at home that I can share and help and inspire and lift. So the last few days have been like just boom, 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 just like podcast after podcast after podcast have all been coming to me. So where we sit at the moment is a solar eclipse is happening today. And I forgot about it this morning. Like I noticed a shift in my energy when I woke up. I usually sleep so good, right? I go to bed and sometimes I can just fall asleep in 5 minutes, quite often actually. And I don't wake up during the night until either my alarm goes off or I naturally wake up, pending if I have to get up for a super early morning class and I'm up at 3:45. Or I just tend to, doesn't matter whether I have 6 hours sleep or 8 hours sleep, I tend to just sleep solidly. And the last few nights I have been waking up during the night. And even last night I found it a little bit harder to sleep. And I went to bed pretty late. I was up at 3:45 because I had an early Pilates class. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to need a nap later today or get to bed early. I've got a busy day today. I might have to just get to bed super early tonight. But I've just had this amazing buzzing energy all day. And obviously it comes from doing a class. No matter how tired I get first thing in the morning, doing a class, my energy always feels amazing. It just really uplifts you. So I know that has something to do with it, but it's not just that. It goes deeper than that. I've been feeling a bit of a shift today, a bit of a change in my energy and a bit of a shift with what is happening with the collective. I drove home this morning from class, and as I'm driving home, the most amazing sunrise, I just missed the sunrise, but the sun was just this beautiful golden orange shining through the clouds. And I'm like, I need to get out there and see that. Raced home, grabbed the dog and threw on my shoes and went out for a walk just to be out there in the beautiful morning energy. It's my favorite time of day when the world's coming to life and everything is awakening. I just thrive off that energy and it really inspires and uplifts me. So I've just known over the years, I've just learned to go with that. If it feels good, I get amongst it. And I'm walking and I had to drop into a client's house because she is making the most beautiful journals for the girls for me for retreat. And I dropped by her house and I was like, had to check out the sample. I'm like, oh my God, they look amazing. She has done the most incredible job. And so I was just walking home with this journal in my hands, and I have this beautiful message on the front of my journal that says, you awaken your authentic self when you let your heart lead the way. And that was something that come to me. I spoke about it on a previous episode, that come to me on a walk when I was looking at my beautiful emerald ring that my grandmother gave me. And it's a sign of pointing with the little teardrop of on my left side. The emerald's a heart chakra, and inspired me to write down that quote, message, whatever you want to call it. And I thought I need to put that on my journals for Bali. So I went and had a look at the sample, and I'm like, oh my God, they're amazing. So I'm walking home looking at this journal with this big beaming smile across my face, feeling amazing. And actually, what's really funny, because last week I was feeling, we've got our retreat in less than 4 weeks now. And last week I was feeling overwhelmed by, oh my gosh, I have so much work to do before retreat. To be honest, I have the same amount of workload to do before retreat because I haven't done any of it since last week. Oh, I've done a little bit, but I've still got a lot to do. But my energy shifted. I got the same amount of workload, but my energy has shifted from a place of feeling overwhelmed and, oh my gosh, it's coming up really soon, to, man, I'm so excited. I can't wait. So same workload, same stuff going on, but my energy has shifted. And today, what this is about, the point of this episode is I want to really help you to sense the change, sense the energy of what happens with you when you notice shifts or changes, or just noticing how your energy shows up and giving yourself permission to go with it, as opposed to, well, some of us might not even know how to kind of pick up on our energy because we're just so busy all the time. We know subtly, but I want to take you a little bit deeper into picking up on your energy. And I want you to start to notice and have an awareness about embracing the seasons. So there are all sorts of seasons, especially as, I shouldn't say especially as a woman, but I'm talking to my women audience. We have menstrual cycles, we have moon cycles. You'll notice in like your menstrual or your moon cycles, if you start tracking it, they may be in alignment with certain cycle phases of the moon. You know, when you go through a period when you're actually on your period, you kind of tend to feel like you want to withdraw a little bit, or you need to hibernate a bit or slow down a little bit. Same with when you go through that full moon cycle, you start to notice that you might want to retreat from the world a little bit, or you need to rest and recharge a little bit, versus that new moon cycle that we are in now, which is about change, beginning, starting a fresh new cycle. And it also happens with, sometimes it can happen, for instance, with the seasons. So winter tends to make us want to retreat a little bit more, whereas spring, we start to birth that new creative energy. So I want you to start to learn to just take notice. I'm not telling you need to do everything cyclically. And I mean, why that's really cool to do, it's not always possible, but just start to notice what happens with you in alignment with the cycles, what happens with people around you. Start to notice how these cycles affect the world, affect the collective, affect your family, your dog, people around you. And I know, like, for instance, last year I went through my explant journey in winter. So I had this period where I kind of felt like I mean, obviously I just had surgery. I didn't really want to be out in public too much, but it was just aligned really nicely that it happened to he had availability in winter. And I took it. It was like end of financial year, 30th of June. I'm like, that's great. It's like end of year going into a new cycle. So that was really cool for me as well. But what happened is, going into winter, I felt this period of hibernation for two reasons: going into winter and also going into recovery. Like, I was going into that healing mode because something big had happened to my body. Well, on all levels, actually, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I had a big shift and a big change, and I guess a bit of trauma to the body and to the soul, that I felt this need to go into a hibernation. And I ended up taking 6 weeks off. I thought I'll just take 4 weeks off and I'll be okay and go back. But I ended up taking 6 weeks off because I just felt this need to heal a little bit longer. I felt this need to retreat for a little bit longer. And yeah, it cost me more money. I had to pay more staff to keep me on, to keep going for that 2 weeks, to keep covering me. There was a lot of things that I wanted to do in that period. When I had that time off that I wanted to work on creating, I had goals back then. I'm going to get my podcast up. I'm going to work on some projects. But when the time come around, I thought I actually just really need to be still and to heal and to ground. And I could sit in stillness for hours. No word of a lie. I could, and I did. I would sometimes sit out in the front yard or out in the backyard on the grass because it was winter. I was really enjoying the sun on my skin. And I would sit out there for ages, and I would sit in meditation. I would sit in mindfulness. Sometimes I wouldn't even meditate. I would just sit and just feel the sun on my skin, pat my dog. And before I knew it, like half an hour had passed. And I know you might be thinking, oh my God, I could never do that. And guess what? The old me would never do that. I thought it was lazy. I thought it would be boring. I could not think of anything worse. I was used to doing things 100 miles an hour. But so I've not always been like that, but I've trained myself, and I didn't intentionally train myself. I guess I have just fallen into that way of being. I've attracted that way into my life that I've just enjoyed it. It just feels good for my soul, and I've learned to listen and trust and go with what feels good. So when I first started, I might sit in stillness or hibernation or retreat for a little bit, have time on my own, maybe for just 10 minutes and go, yep, I'm done. It might be when I very first started, it would be like in Shavasana at the end of a yoga class. And I used to lay in Shavasana, and I'm talking about 7 or so years ago. I used to lay in Shavasana going, this is boring. Like, when is this going to hurry up? Actually, that wasn't 7 years ago. When I first started doing yoga, I actually did start to really enjoy the Shavasana. But the very first few times I started the practice of yoga, I really struggled in Shavasana. I felt like I had somewhere to be. I had more important things to do. But then I started to just enjoy that little 10-minute window of relaxation that I actually started to look forward to it. So over time, I've just naturally gravitated towards the way that I feel I need a little bit more stillness. I remember when I went on my first Bali retreat, I'm an early morning person, and I like being in that little bit of solitude. And I would wake up before, like, we had a certain time we had to get up to the studio upstairs for practice. And I would set my alarm and get up super early before everybody else because I crave a bit of time on my own. And I would go into the pool. There was this beautiful horizon edge pool, infinity edge pool. And I would just, there was no one around. It overlooks the jungle ravine. It is just spectacular. And I remember this little dragonfly landing on a leaf because you're kind of overlooking the jungle. There was some plants behind us. And I thought to myself, I'm just like got my chin kind of, leaning on the edge of the pool, my chin on my hands. And I just looking at this little dragonfly going, it is so beautiful. Look at the color of the wings, how it sparkles when the sunlight hits its wings. And I just thought, I made a decision in that moment. I'm just going to take in this moment, and I'm just going to be present for as long as that dragonfly stays there. I am just going to be present. The little fucker stayed there for like half an hour. I kid you not. And that was what I was thinking. Like back then, I'm like, oh my goodness, 10 minutes would kind of, I don't know, it could have been 20 or 30 minutes. It felt like half an hour, and it could have been 15. I don't know. But I had this urge like, okay, I'm done now. I need to keep swimming. I need to get out and read. I need to journal. I have somewhere else to be. And I would like, no, just practice mindfulness and just be in the moment. I would get busy. My mind would get bored again or wander. And I wonder what the girls are doing. Wonder if they're getting up. Wonder what the time is. Nope. Get back into this mindful moment. So that was one of the first moments I remember on a retreat where I really made myself sit in that mindful moment. So I kind of trained myself, I guess, that I started to enjoy being in those little moments of peace and tranquility. So then I started to enjoy going into like in that winter hibernation period after my explant. I loved that 6-week period. No word of a lie. I had women in this breast implant illness group that I was in. They're saying, I'm bored. I'm sick of binge watching TV. And I'm like, I just take me back there. I would happily do another 6 weeks. So this is a practice, girls. My point of that is it's a practice. It's a way that has just naturally evolved for me. It is not something that I was just good at, okay? It's something that I have practiced and I have struggled with as well over the years. And I know that we can't always sit in mindfulness or take 6 weeks off and have that time of nothingness all the time, because there's daily demands, there is things that keep us busy, but we can get to bed a little bit earlier. We can cancel some plans if things, we feel that energy shift that I need to slow down, I need to retreat for a little bit. We can, say no to a few things. We can change a few plans if we need to. We can choose on our lunch break to go, I'm just going to try and be a little bit mindful on my lunch break instead of being around everybody else or running around or still working. No, I'm just going to take that little bit of time. So I know it's not always possible to have big chunks of time, but we can take little moments and capture little moments and just start to build it like our muscle. Anyway, I got fully sidetracked, but I think that's a really important point. Anyway, so today is a new moon. It is the eclipse season. New moon symbolizes going through beginnings. It symbolizes setting intentions, manifesting your dreams, journaling what you want to step into, what you want to become. And particularly with an eclipse amplifies that energy. And certain eclipses represent certain things based on what planetary sign is in the eclipse. So at the moment, it's an eclipse, an Aries eclipse. And Aries brings with it the energy of change and transformation, of breakthroughs, turning points, awakening, activating. And if we allow ourselves to go with that feeling of change, then we can start to up level. And within this eclipse at the moment, it's this giving ourselves that safety and that courage to be a channel for ourselves, to let that guidance come through, that our needs and our desires and our hopes and our visions are worthy, they're worthwhile, they're important, they're coming up for a reason, we can achieve them. So starting to set intentions, celebrating and giving yourself permission to be who you are, to love what you love, to love what you want to do, and honor the experience and what it means to be you, and open yourself up to this understanding that change is okay, shifts are okay, transformations are okay, because this portal that we're going through at the moment is taking us into our soul's direction. So look, I understand that the time you guys are going to listen to this, some of you may listen to it soonish, you might listen to it down the track, but it doesn't matter whether it's an eclipse, or it doesn't matter whether what season we're in. You will listen to it at the right time that aligns for you, when you need to change and when you need to shift, and you feel that you either are going through a new beginning or you need a new beginning in a certain area of your life. Like you need this spark of new life. So the point of this episode is to help you sense when you need a change and to help you give yourself permission to go with it and to roll with it, but also open yourself up to the perspective that change is okay. We resist change. We get scared of change. We stay in the comfortable. And I remember reading in a book, I'll often talk about books because I love reading. And I was reading in this book, The Slight Edge, and he talks about what's comfortable now becomes uncomfortable later, but what's uncomfortable now becomes comfortable later. So for instance, it might be comfortable now. It is more comfortable to sit on the couch and eat chocolate than it is to get up and go and exercise. I'm using a very basic example here, you guys. But what's uncomfortable is when you put on weight, you have no energy, you have no spark of life, you've lost the zest for your goals, and you just don't feel good in yourself. But it's comfortable in the moment, right? To sit there and eat chocolate versus set your alarm and get up early or go out and do some movement. And what is uncomfortable now, it is uncomfortable to start a new class. It's uncomfortable to get up early in the morning when other people are sleeping to exercise. It's uncomfortable to go and do a class where you don't know anybody, you don't know what to do, and you're getting out of your comfort zone. But what becomes comfortable down the track is when you feel this amazing energy, you feel this zest for life, you feel good in your body, you feel energized, you feel motivated, you feel fit, you feel strong, you feel healthy, you feel connected, you feel all these amazing things. So you get my point that it's okay to get uncomfortable and it's okay to change, because if we stay in our comfort zone, that's fine. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. If you want something different in your life, be it a new relationship, a new job, a new career, some more money, some more abundance, a healthier body, attract a partner, a new home, whatever it is, at some stage you are going to have to take some different actions. Because if you look back at the last, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 5 years, chances are, if you haven't done anything different, if you've been doing the same thing, you're in the same position, right? So the next 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years are going to be exactly the same. Like, there's no crystal ball needed. Things are going to be the same unless you start to take some different actions. So give yourself permission to make a change is one of the first things that I want to tell you. Embrace change, welcome change, but also be okay with it. Like give yourself permission that this is okay. But I want you to start to sense that when you feel you need to make a change, what happens? Do you ignore it? Do you bury it deep down? Do you go with it? Do you kind of feel that little bit of uncomfortableness but don't know exactly what to do and how to make the change? Or maybe you're completely oblivious and maybe you just don't even have any awareness or notice it at all because you're completely disconnected. And that is normal, my friends. If you're going, oh my God, that's me, that is so normal. And that was me as well. And I see it with people that come into the studio, and no disrespect, we just are all different places. And I was there too. When people come into the studio, getting connected with their body, sometimes, like it's hard to kind of get that grasp of really feeling into your body, having awareness in your body, getting your lefts and your rights, getting your balance, because we're so stuck in our head all the time. And we need to get into that place of living from the heart. So if you feel disconnected, you are not alone. It is very normal, and you're going to be disconnected at different stages of your life. And that's okay, my friends. I was there and I will still go back there in different areas as well. We all will be. We're not just going to be connected all the time. You're kind of going to go through these cycles where you feel a bit more connected, you feel a bit out of alignment. That is normal. You might feel really aligned in one area of your life and your health, your fitness, your marriage, and so disconnected with your job, or vice versa. It's a bit hard to have every single thing, every box ticked, be in alignment all the time. But when you start to listen to your heart and soul, you just get a little bit more aligned, and you start to have the courage to make decisions and to make changes and make shifts and adjustments and tweak little things along the way when you know that they are ready. But we sometimes need to just get a little bit more connected with ourselves to know that, okay, I feel a change is coming. And I know for this year, many people have kind of felt that change come through this year. At the start of 2024, there has been a big shift in the collective consciousness. I've seen many people I know change jobs, change careers, leave a relationship, make a whole new different leap into quitting what they're doing, going into study. Some really big radical shifts have been happening anyway. And that is a normal part of life. And sometimes when you look around, you start to notice more and more people are kind of, they're doing this thing at the same time. You might notice that a lot of people, like I'll notice it at the studio, for instance, or talking to friends or talking to healers where we're all really tired. Or I'll rock up for a class early in the morning and a heap of people will cancel and I'll go, it's a new, it's a full moon, or the collective energy has been a bit heavy at the moment. So just starting to notice around you what is happening and how you are feeling and maybe how other people are feeling. So just starting to have an awareness. So you may not know exactly where to start to become more connected and to know when you need a change or when you need a bit of a shift or when you need a new beginning, but you can start to embody a few of the things that I'm going to discuss with you, and you can start to notice what is happening. So that first step is awareness. Become aware of your energy. How are you feeling in your body? What is coming up for you? How are you feeling in your energy levels? How are you feeling in terms of your emotions? Do you feel happy and fulfilled in a certain area of your life, or do you just constantly feel this resentment showing up? So Abraham Hicks talks about this scale, this emotional vibrational scale, where up the top is your emotions of joy, of happiness, of fulfillment, of like enlightenment, and then down the bottom is that anxiety and depression and sadness and resentment and rage and anger, and then this kind of neutral energy in the beginning. So if you start to pay attention and have emotional intelligence, how am I feeling about certain things? If you keep getting this repeating pattern showing up that I'm really getting itchy feet, or I'm really not happy in this particular area of my life, whether it be a job, like I resent going to work, I'm sick of this same cycle playing out over and over. It could be a little sign from your emotions that you need to make a shift, that you need to make a change. So notice what's happening with your emotions. Notice what's happening with your energy. How are you feeling in your energy levels? How are you feeling in your connection levels to yourself? Are you noticing what's happening with you, or do you feel completely oblivious, disconnected? Because we tend to live more in an energy of the masculine, where we are constantly going, we're doing, we've got to-do lists to check off, we're running kids around, we're running back and forward to work. We just feel like we're in this rat race and running everywhere all the time, that we are so exhausted that we don't have any time for ourselves to just stop and breathe. I need to take a breath just saying that sentence, because it makes me feel really overwhelmed now. But that's how many people live. That's how I used to live. I will still notice periods of it play out in my life, 100%. And I will go, okay, I need to tone it down a little bit. I need to make some shifts. So just notice what happens when, and I'll see it with people play out in the studio too, like they might be popping in for regular classes, then they might pop in for one class a week, which is great, versus those times where they haven't been in such a long time. They hit a point where they go, oh my God, life has just gotten so busy that I've neglected myself. I've neglected taking time for me. I feel sick. I feel run down. I feel anxious. I feel so stressed out. I feel this like tension headache, or however it shows up for them. I'm grumpy. I'm cranking at the kids. I'm having fights with my partner. That when they kind of come back into the studio and they sort of start to notice how it feels when they have that little bit of connection, that little bit of self-awareness, how it shifts and impacts their body, because they're tapping into that divine feminine energy of self-care, of nourishment, of love, of kindness, and of compassion, of taking care of themselves. So notice where you're spending most of your time. Are you in that masculine? Are you in that feminine? And both are important and both are needed, and they can work together in unison, or you can just be stuck in one, where you need to shift the scales and you need to shift the balance a bit, because that feminine energy is the energy of self-awareness, is the intuition within us. It's that connection to the divine. It's that connection to our self-awareness. It's that self-love. It's that kindness. It's that softness, that compassion, the slowing down, the being. And it is so important as a woman to really connect in with yourself and be present in your body, present with your loved ones, and really feel fulfilled and nourished in yourself. So start to notice what's happening around you and what's showing up in your energy and in your awareness. And yoga has a really powerful role in this. And yoga is something that it's a form of movement that is just embodies that holistic movement, that connection with body, mind, soul, and breath. So if you don't know where to start, if you feel really just disconnected from yourself and you don't know where to start, you don't know how you're feeling, I encourage you to step into a yoga class, because it starts to awaken you to this sense of spirit. It starts to awaken you to this sense of intuition, of learning to be guided instinctively. And it starts to awaken you to this presence within, that there's more to you than just this physical 3D ego world that we live, that it connects you back with the essence of who you are. It connects you back with your soul. It teaches you how to move in unison with body, mind, soul, and breath. So it teaches you how to become connected with your body, how to read signs, signals, messages, how to communicate with your body. So it's a really powerful practice to teach you how to embody your energy and how to become aware of your energy. Meditation, daily prayer is another really powerful way to do that, because meditation connects you with that mindfulness. It connects you with your breath. It connects you with your intuition. And meditation is a very powerful way to connect you with yourself and be aware of your energy and aware what's going on in your energy field, and start to notice the intuition that flows through you. So you start to get little signs and messages, because we always get them, girls, like we always get them. But if you're so busy in the masculine energy all the time, you just don't hear them. Your body's trying to tell you things and you just don't hear them. So sometimes you get forced to pay attention. You get forced to listen. It could be like you get sick or you get run down or you have an accident and something makes you slow down, because we are just so busy all the time. So meditation has a way of connecting you back with your intuition and with the messages that come through. It's like this little, think of like an internal compass that keeps you on track of what's in alignment for your highest good, what's the best thing for your soul. So meditation has a way of connecting you with that. So does nature. So does getting out into nature and connecting with mindful walks and starting to notice what's around you, watching a sunrise, watching a sunset, listening and just taking that observation, sitting and having your mindful cuppa in your backyard. Whatever it is that makes you feel connected, a walk on the beach, getting out in nature has a way of really connecting you within yourself. Even like dance or movement or just moving in a mindful way that makes you feel good, that makes you feel empowered, that makes you feel so connected with yourself. Some people find dance does that for them. There's a whole heap of rituals. But actually, speaking of rituals, a morning ritual is so important. I could tell you this a million times, and it took me a little while to get into the consistent habit of doing this, but a little morning connection, and it could be 5 minutes because you've got to race off to work. It could be 5 minutes getting your feet in the ground and just breathing and stopping and connecting. It could be sitting and having your mindful cup of tea, your raw cacao, connecting in. It could be a meditation. It could be starting your day with yoga. It could be starting your day with a walk. It could be starting your day with just simply sitting out in a beautiful Zen zone that you have at home or out in your backyard, just with awareness, just saying, these are my intentions for the day, setting your intentions for the day, saying your gratitude for the day, asking, just simply asking to be guided, to be connected with your source, to be connected with your higher self, to let your higher self guide you with what you need, just setting an intention or saying a little prayer, but having some kind of ritual is something that we used to do in the past. Like generations ago, we used to do more rituals. And what's happened is we've become so busy trying to make ends meet, put food on the table, make a living, make money, look after kids, keep up with everybody else. A lot of these rituals have started to subside over the years. So I want to encourage you to bring back some kind of ritual in your life that feels good for you, that aligns with you, that connects you to your soul first thing in the morning. It does not have to take half an hour. You might find some mornings it might be 5 minutes, some mornings it might be 15, 20. It does not matter. Just some kind of connection. And yeah, it might mean you have to get up early, girls. Like it might mean you have to get up a little bit earlier before the kids wake up or before you go to work. And look, I think a little bit differently. I used to think, what's 15 minutes earlier on my alarm? Big deal. And I would just wake up that little 15 minutes. Then it kind of went, I really like this. And then I would step it back 30 minutes and get the time before my kids woke up and before that household just become crazy with lunches and school run and everything. So you may need to get up a little bit earlier, okay? But make a ritual a regular thing for you and make it a priority, and then notice what happens. Notice what happens when you do your rituals versus the days that you don't. So when you start to become more in tune with yourself and more connected with yourself, you start to notice these cycles that you go through. So I'll share with you what happened for me this morning. I woke up with this amazing buzzing energy, and then I kind of realized, oh, that's right, it's a new moon, it's a new eclipse cycle. And I just had this hunch like, I'm ready for some new things. And I've kind of been feeling that over the last week, as I've spoken about it on the last couple of days. I've had to release a few things. I've had to let go of a few things. I've had to look at some past things that have been playing out, had to sage a few things away, reset. That now I feel this energy of, I've done a bit of a release, and now I feel this energy ready to step into this new cycle. I feel this knowing that something new is coming for me and that I need to step up, that I need to level up again. So I've gone for my walk. I've come back. Again, I went for a swim. I love my mindful morning swim, had my raw cacao, pulled some cards. And then I went and made Riley some lunch and had a bit of a chat with her. And then she went off to work, and then I then went back into meditation. So it was a bit broken up this morning, but that doesn't matter. And I don't feel like I need to go into meditation every single morning. Some mornings it might be a long meditation. Some mornings it might be, like I said, that 5 minutes of connection. But this morning I felt a calling for a meditation and pulling cards. And one of the cards, I'll tell you, these cards tell a little story, actually. It's really, really funny. These cards that I pulled this morning, the first one that I pulled was commitment. So I have got this beautiful deck called the Oracle of Portals, and I find it kind of guides me through transitions or what's happening. And I pulled this card this morning that says commitment, and it said, this is an exciting time because you are standing at the portal of a life-altering commitment. What are you being called to commit to? It could be a relationship, a career, a project, a life direction, or a spiritual path. The moment I pulled this card, I knew exactly what it was for. I was like, okay, I need to commit to myself. I need to commit to letting go of some habits that have been playing out for me that I've been really slack in. One of them was like my eating habits. For instance, I don't eat terribly bad, but lately I have been craving so much chocolate. I've been like, it's been Easter, I've been eating sugar, and I've been feeling a bit crappy in myself, and I've been feeling just yuck. I feel like I've put it on a little bit of weight. I don't weigh myself and I don't judge myself on the scales, but you know when you just feel a little bit bleh, you just feel a bit yucky in yourself, and I've been feeling like that, and I'm like, no, I need to get back to that commitment of really super clean eating. I need to stop procrastinating. This is another commitment I need to make to myself. I find when I'm kind of got things I need to work on and I don't know exactly how to do it, I procrastinate. And that's the ego that kicks in to keep us comfortable, keeps us safe. I get busy in the day-to-day chores, the day-to-day running the studio, the day-to-day busyness, that I get to the end of the day and go, oh, I ran out of time to start that project. And then I look back and go, well, that's happened for the last month or 2 months and I still haven't started. So I need to get a little bit more organized and take a little bit more action. So I pulled out my spray this morning, my Lotus Way flower essence. I'm spraying it now as we speak because it's just beautiful. Inspired action, which is wild creativity, laser focus, and decisiveness. So I'm like, okay, I need to take my inspired action daily, have some to-do lists, and get into some really when I say action, I still like that aligned action, but I need to get out of procrastination mode. And if I want these projects to come to fruition, if I want to feel good in myself, I need to get out of that procrastination. So I knew a few things that come up from that commitment card for me that I needed to do. So I'm like, okay, this is good because it's a new cycle and this card is showing up. The next card I pulled, I have so many different decks. I have like 5 I'm kind of working with at the moment, and I'll just pull what I get drawn to pull. Sometimes I'll be on my walk and I'll just get this little voice that pops in my head that says, go home, pull this deck, this deck, this deck, or just this deck today, or dive into meditation, or you don't need a meditation. And sometimes I'll just get home and look at them and go, oh, I might pull that card today. But today I had a feeling to pull 3 decks. The next one I pulled is this gorgeous Lightworker Oracle deck that I've got by Alana Fairchild. She has some amazing decks, and it was card number 44. and seventh ray of ritual, order, and ceremony. And it says, when the gift of the seventh ray enters your life, something new is being formed, something that will benefit the world. There may be an increased interest in magic, ceremony, and ritual for healing purposes. And I'm like, that's interesting, because I've been feeling this kind of new beginning, this new cycle. And then I've pulled this card about making a commitment, and pulled this other card about about beginnings and about creation. And it said the seventh ray is very active upon the earth at this time. All of humanity is being affected by it. The seventh ray is the push-pull between the old and the new, the life that has been and can no longer continue in that form, and the new life that wants to evolve from the old. It honors traditions and ancestral wisdom that serve new life. And this card was really cool. I'll be here all day if I read it, but it was very, very cool. And it just really aligned with me. I'm reading it going, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I need to hear. And it said that the seventh ray brings an alignment with the divine order. And the more you are willing to invoke and allow that energy to bless you, the more your life will align itself with the genius of creativity, solutions, and loving opportunities the universe wants you to bring into the world. And I got goosebumps reading that card. Honestly, there were so many things that gave me a little bit of courage, gave me a little bit of strength for what I want to do, and a few ideas as to what I need to do for this new cycle of beginning. The last card I pulled, and this was one of the very first decks that I bought. It is gorgeous. Another Alana Fairchild one, and it's Earth Warriors Oracles. And it has all these beautiful, it's like this ancestral warriors of the earth. And the one I pulled this morning, number 23, was, I can't say it, Abuela, Abuela, Abuela Medicine. And it says, believe in the formidable power of healing. It's this beautiful card. It almost looked like, it says remedy of the grandmothers. It just has this kind of beautiful picture depicted of, it just looks really ancient. It's too hard to explain. You need to see it, but their cards are beautiful. And it says, believe in the formidable power of healing, of the transformation that it can provide for all aspects of your life and your being. Medicine comes to you in many forms from Great Spirit to facilitate healing of the body, mind, and soul. Whether it be the correction of unhelpful habits, yes, or maybe unhelpful thoughts, or guidance for the practical steps to resolve a physical imbalance or deep soul healing that frees you into fulfillment of your divine potential, because there is no limit to what you can create and what can be healed through grace. And then it says in here, which really resonated with me, your soul has healing gifts and you are meant to participate fully in the exploration of healing that is of interest to you. And for me, that really struck a chord, because I have had people tell me that I have this healing ability. I have had people tell me that they can feel healing in my hands when I touch them. If I put my hands on their feet or hands on their head in like a little massaging class or something like that, people have often said to me, you've got healing hands. And I pulled out many years ago, I went to the Body, Mind, Soul Festival, and I got like an astrology chart done. I'm talking like 13 years ago. And I pulled it out a few months back, and in it, it said in there that part of my purpose is, it said I have healing hands. And back then I hadn't even gotten into my personal training business back then. I was a young mum with kids, and I kind of forgot about it. And I was reading it the other day, and it said in there about my purpose will be something to do with yoga, to do with healing. And it just blew me away by what I was reading. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I was having this chat with my spiritual healer friend Kira the other day, and she was telling me how I am a healer and I do have healing hands, and I need to embody that. I need to work with it. I need to practice with it. And it's part of my gift to offer the world. Now, I've had a bit of a reluctance to share that, because I had this perception that to be, and this is what I said to Kira, I said, I feel like to be a healer, you need to have a certificate, you know, like you need to have a certificate in Kinesi or Reiki or whatever kind of modality that is. And she said why that is correct. Yes, there is also, if you look back through the ages, there are many women that, or people that have this gift of healing ability within them. And do you think they had certificates back then? No, they didn't. Just trust that you've got this healing ability, and it's going to be amplified, and it's going to come out in you when you learn to acknowledge it, when you learn to accept it, and when you are not afraid of it, and when you're open to putting it out there into the world. And she said at the moment, she said, you heal through your classes, you heal through your messaging, you heal through what you share with your community, your writing, you heal with those one-on-one people that you connect with, and you get all these messages from people about how much you've changed their life. When you go on retreat, she said, this retreat is going to be next level. She said, your retreats are really stepping you into your power as a healer, and you're going to transform these women that are going with you in ways you cannot even imagine. And it's going to be amplified when you go on your retreats. And even speaking this out loud now, I'm like, wow, I do believe that, and I do see that. And so this card was really talking about this healing journey and this period of purification and cleansing that I need to go through, a release of toxins to support my body, mind, and soul, that this true vitality, well-being, and divine beauty can manifest and unfold within me for what I need to offer into the world. And I was kind of a bit, wow, this is, like I said to you, I feel this new beginning is coming up. I feel this new change is coming. And these cards have really amplified that for me and have really validated that, have awakened me to that. And then I went into the most insane meditation. Again, like a really kind of generation back through the ancestors, where I felt that healing medicine being given to me by a past grandmother, or kind of a grandmother body, deity, I don't know what you call it. I just kind of felt that ancestral grandmother giving me this healing. And my body was on fire this morning. Like my hands were on fire, my feet were on fire. When I kind of took myself through my chakras, I felt like this big tightening and this clenching in my throat. I could feel this amazing energy in my head. I could feel my chest was just so like shifting, like tight in my heart, and really like I couldn't breathe for a period. And I just felt like this big internal shift start to flow through me. It was so powerful. I had these visions of what I need to create, of what I need to do. And it was one of those meditations where I was like, wow, that was kind of next level. And it gave me a glimpse of what I need to do and what I need to step into, and a glimpse and a feeling of change. And one last thing that I read in this card, it says that heaven and earth are intersecting, and when that happens, the practice of various types of physical world medicine can become a channel for divine blessing. This divine integration of heaven and earth will transform the way you see and experience the physical world. It will provide a feeling of harmony between the celestial and the earthly, between a sense of masculine and feminine energies working together for the same purpose. You will no longer feel divided within yourself, pulled in competing directions, or conflict about key aspects of your life and belief systems. And when I was reading that about this heaven and earth intersecting, and between this harmony of the heavenly and the earthly world, it just really, I got goosebumps thinking about the name of my business, thinking about Earthy Angels, and how the more I have that, the title, the name kind of come about loosely, but as I've dove into this business more and more, I feel this real connection between heaven and earth, as you might call it, between physical and soul, and how pulling them together is one thing that I'm really meant to share with the world, that I need to experience for myself, and really encourage people to get more connected with the essence of who they are, more connected with their soul, more connected with their authentic self. And the way we can do that is through a lot of the rituals, a lot of the practice, through coming to the studio, a lot of the things that I will go through in my podcast. But the ultimate goal is that connection, because living just in the ego 3D world, just living just in the physical body, we're missing out, you guys. We are missing parts of ourselves. And when we come together with body and soul, with heaven and earth, with masculine and feminine, when we kind of bring this yin and yang together, this mix of energy between the physical and the spiritual, that's when your life truly starts to begin. That's when you truly start to awaken. And so Today might be a new beginning for you. Today might be a knowing that maybe you need to make a change. Maybe you're sensing a change of a relationship, of a job, of your health, of your habits. Maybe something is coming through to you that you know you need to do, but you're not afraid. You're afraid. You don't know how to start or where to start. Take some of those things out of what I've shared and just learn to trust in yourself a little bit more, and learn to listen to what comes through from your heart and soul, and know that beginnings and transformations are okay. That transformation is part of what we are meant to do. And I always embody that growth and evolution over a lifetime. We are meant to grow. We are meant to change. We are meant to shift. We are not meant to stay the same, because that is when you will feel more fulfilled. That is when you will step into your power. That is when you will live more authentically and flow with that current of life, as opposed to resistance and butting against it all the time. You will find that life will become a little bit more effortless, and life will flow for you in ways that you never could ever have dreamed of. So embrace change, my friends. Get connected with your heart and soul, and give yourself permission to take time for you. Give yourself permission to look after you, because that is when you are going to become more connected. Have a beautiful day, angels, and I will chat with you in the next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode and want more, feel free to follow or subscribe on whatever platform you listen to. You can also head over to earthyangels.com or join our private Facebook group, Earthy Angels Connect, for more community, blogs, updates, inspo, motivation, support, and to connect with a tribe of like-minded souls. And if you have a moment, we would be super grateful if you would love to leave a review. Sending you so much light and